here is the agenda we have. So that's a short time frame that we have. You know, if you have seen the overall calendar, it's a hackathon on site, which is end of March. We started really working on it in January. So a number of things we are running a bit behind, but all teams are motivated to push forward. So what I will do, I will start reminding or explaining why we are launching that, what are the big ideas, and then Professor Nobuo Kochizuka will give us the welcome from his side. We will have a testimonial from Mr. Vishal Kripani, who has been a winner of the previous hackathon we did in Bangalore, India last year. And then, because we are going to play here with quite a number of technologies, that's what we want to do at the end. We will have a number of presentations from different companies who are supporting this event, bringing in test beds or technologies. So from Simware, VTT, MOSIP, EGM, and if I forgot any, just raise your hand and I will open the floor to you. And then we'll have some Q&A session to answer any questions you may have or discuss even further on the overall integration, and then the closing. So let's start quickly first. InPace project. So it's a project which is funded by the European Commission and which is meant to support the connections between Europe and Indo-Pacific region. So the countries which are part of the project are Japan, obviously, South Korea, Singapore, and India. And this because the European Union has signed digital partnerships with these countries, or Trade and Technology Council with India, which is slightly different, but still it's all about reinforcing digital cooperation in some of the digital areas that are identified at really high level between the countries. So this is what we have to do. And a number of activities are being done in the project, looking at the different joint calls, funding which is available, because obviously it's about research and we all need some funding to move on some on the research. But not only, it's also looking at regulation, legislation, standardization for all digital technologies if we want to have some interoperability between the different regions. And now we started the project 2 years ago, and also there is now even a bigger push for looking at trade, commercialization, being industry-driven, also in what is being supported by the project. And idea obviously is not to have something just now and stop, but really to set up long-term cooperation in the field of digital technologies. And this is quite important because what we are doing today is not just a hackathon. That will not be the big interest. Is mostly to connect all the people together, and even all of you. Some are supporters, so some are players in the hackathon. But it's really to make teams that will be able to later on contribute in projects and so on together. Quickly, if I do a focus on the Japan digital partnership, but there are similar one with Singapore, South Korea, and India. It has been signed in May 2022. It's rediscussed, renewed every year, and the topics slightly evolve every year. So that's what we have to build on. It's high level, so it doesn't enter into the detail of what has to be done, but it says, okay, these are the topics we would like all countries to cooperate on right now. And obviously there is AI, there's quantum computing, 5G, 6G, semiconductors, cyber security, but also all interoperability on data exchanges, digital identities are quite in the focus. And for example, in Japan, there's quite a lot on the data free flow with trust, which was pushed from the G7 summit in 2023. So that's where we want to play. And ideally, if at the end of the month, with having played together, either as technology supporters or hackathon, let's say, players. And if we have some recommendations, what should be done, what should not be done, what should be pushed at high level, we will have the opportunity to present that to the highest level end of the month. So that's quite important that we not only think about the hackathon, but also on these topics of data spaces, public digital identities, public infrastructures, what we think should be done, and push it, because then it could be later on be part of recommendations, project calls, and so on and so on. I will quickly go into the details, and we'll have the opportunity to go more and more in details. But idea is to put together a number of technologies. When we look at digital identities, data spaces, you all know that a number of things are running around for some time now, that we are looking for interoperability across the different initiatives. And question is how we could move forward. So even within Europe, there are a number of initiatives, but that's the same in Japan and in other countries. And now, if we want to get the whole working together, or how we should move forward. So here we are just putting the Lego building block on the table, and then let's start to play with it. So, for example, there are the foundations, obviously, for the Dataspace connectors. Gaia-X has been working on that, IDSA, the Fireware connector, Eclipse connector as well. On the Japanese side, there is the KDE approach, the Trusted Web project, which are pushing things in these directions. In Dataspaces, obviously, it's about data exchange. So even if, when we say Dataspaces, we don't say much on the semantics, the data to be exchanged, still at some point we need to align on some semantics, on some approaches to be exchanged standards, to be able to exchange standards. And in Europe, there are some approaches like NGSLD, DCAT-AP, the smart data models, which are available. And in Japan, there is also quite corresponding things like the infrastructure for multi-layer interoperability and a number of different industry-led initiatives. Other topics of interest in the context of the hackathon are the trust framework and verifiable credentials. I mean, if I want to exchange access data through another organization, or within the organization, another person through a data space, obviously we need to establish this trust layer among us. And this first thing is that you are sure that I am who I claim I am. So this is why we have to have this common layer of digital identities where we can prove who we are and what we are going to do with the data we share. And because all of that are simply, let's say, the enablers for data exchange, then we could look further, even in the hackathon, on other topics relevant. There are the HPC, so high performance computing integration, which is being more and more available. And this is also a topic in digital partnerships. So HPC is welcome. If you see at some point, okay, we need big computers. We will not provide them in the hackathon, but if you have access to them, why not? And there are some AI factories approaches in Europe. We can connect to that. If you think, okay, I would really like to do on HPC, we want to do something on HPC, okay, the project in Pace could help you on that. AI, obviously, AI is everywhere. So putting some AI in the contest, in the approaches which will be developed, makes sense. Can be for schema mapping, compliance predictions, contract negotiation. We can have AI at many layers in these. And obviously, we have also to look on that distributed ledger if we want to ensure the provenance and chain of trust that we would like to build. So these are, let's say, some of the building blocks, Lego blocks that we will want to play with in the hackathon. Idea will be we'll provide the schedule, but by the end of the month, teams who will register will develop things. It can be architecture, it can be proof of concept. We don't expect the whole application because it's in that really short amount of time. It's not possible probably. maybe I can help, but not sure that we'll have complete application. But at the end of the month, idea would be to have pitch sessions and where we'll evaluate the different proposals. And the selection criteria which have been written are first interoperability, because that's what we are looking at, standardization, interoperability of solution, but also looking at real world impact. So we have some support with the Hack for Earth Foundation, which is also helping in that project. So this is quite relevant. Obviously, what is going to be presented should be feasible and nicely presented. That's part of a pitch session to be able to nicely present a result. Technical excellence, so it has again to be grounded and robust in the ideas, even if not completely implemented. That's not the goal, but at least in the concept, it should be robust. And all trust and security aspects are quite centric, so that's obviously one parameter also to be taken into account. Price. So I'm sorry, it's not a huge monetary prize which will be provided to the winner. Main reason being that as a project in PACE can't just provide monetary prize, what we can do is to support travel of participants. And our proposal is to invite the winning team to present themselves at the final in-PACE event, which will take place first semester of 2027 in Brussels. And we can discuss alternatives. And obviously, if the winning team is based in Europe, maybe it will be more relevant to go for an event in Indo-Pacific region, and this can be discussed as well. So it says that it's going to be a travel to a relevant event to be discussed with the winning team. And in parallel, we have been discussing with the Hack for Earth Foundation, which is going to offer up to 2 acceleration program in the Hack for Earth program, which is to help, let's say, startups, young companies, students to move on with their project. Schedule and logistic, starting today. Thank you for being here. Today we are not going to go into the deep technical details. For that, we planned another session which will take place in 1 week from now. So next Tuesday. And there we'll have 5 to 6 more in-depth presentation of the technical aspects of the different solutions. Then, end of the month, and Professor Kochik-Zukasan will go more into the detail on this as well. We will have 2 days of intense work with on-site presence in University of Tokyo, but also remote participation possible. And on the Saturday 21st, short list of the of 3 candidates will be done, either online or on-site, for the one being on-site. There we expect to have a more technical-oriented evaluation with the criteria shown above. And Thursday, the 3 finalists will have the opportunity to pitch at the European delegation in Tokyo, where it will be more higher level, less technical audience, and so we'll have to adjust the presentation. So quickly, next 1 week, all building blocks to be made available will be presented in details with some hands-on training, so you can have a look at it. The hybrid intensive sprint, again, on-site Tokyo, but welcoming remote participation. It's not the ideal case, but it's clear that not everyone can travel to Tokyo easily. We will have schedule in the so it will be the afternoon in Japan, early morning in Europe, where we will discuss the solution, present, and interact. So to have a kind of end of the day exchange on what has been progressed. And the final pitching ceremony, as I was saying, at the EU delegation premises in Tokyo. So this is for the overall schedule, and all details are available online in the InPace Hub, and we will also provide the guide for applicant who will be sent to all interested teams. For the team registration, so on InPace Hub, you can register. It's quite flexible, as you see from the beginning. It's quite flexible in the technologies you can use, on the way you want to participate. You can register as an individual if you feel strong enough to go alone, as a team if you have your colleagues with you and want together, or you are alone but would like to join a team. So just let us know when you fill the survey form when you register, and then we will do a brokerage among the one looking for a team to join. Okay, as I was saying, two participation mode: on-site during the event or remote, and we'll do our best to make it easy for all participants. So we'll have during all the months of March some mentorships which will be available. So we have webinars in 1 week, and then we'll deploy some Slack channels for the participants so you can interact with technical mentors and ask questions they may have on the use of the different technologies. And that's it for the introduction from my side. I know it's a lot of information, but it was just to give a quick overview of where we are heading. And now I will leave the floor to Professor Kochizuka-san, who will give us more details on what is going to happen. Professor, yes. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So firstly, good evening to everyone here in Japan, and maybe good morning or good afternoon to everyone joining us from Europe and across the Indo-Pacific region. And welcome to this official online kickoff event for the EU-Japan Hackathon on the interoperability of digital public infrastructure. And my name is Noboru Koshizuka, a professor at the University of Tokyo, and I am serving as a local host of this event. Firstly, on behalf of the InPace project and our co-host, University of Tokyo, I am very delighted to welcome all of you. I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to supporting partners and many others who have made this event possible. And this time I would like to make some additional presentation and giving some information. So using my slide. Yeah. Yes, and firstly, I would like to introduce our local host team. The local host, we are the University of Tokyo and also the DSA. DSA is an organization of the Dataspace initiatives and Data Society Alliance. And I am Noboru Koshizuka, of the leader of this local host team, and the Professor Hatano and Professor Seike and Mizuki No and Dr. Mano. The 5 person is a local host team in this event. And this time in this talk, I would like to talk about 3 topics. The first one is more detailed logistic information of University of Tokyo, because we would like to welcome many people to University of Tokyo. So firstly, I would like to promote University of Tokyo logistic information. And secondly, we University of Tokyo would like to provide some data space test bed in University of Tokyo. So this kind of information we would like to provide the next webinar, more details, and at the Hackathon event venue, more detail. But today I would like to introduce about the test bed system of our University of Tokyo. And finally, the third point is I would like to introduce some example of challenges in this hackathon, because the Frank-san introduced a very technical point of view. but I think participation team of the hackathon would must or should or can provide some proposal of the digital services using the trust technology, trust framework, and Dataspaces framework, and some AI or high performance computing, and but provide the proposal of the good data services. So I would like to introduce some example of like that. So firstly, our host organization logistic information. So we are the University of Tokyo, and this is a hackathon venue. The University of Tokyo have 3 big campuses, and Hongo campus is the center of the University of Tokyo. And this hackathon will be held in this Hongo campus. And the University of Tokyo, I would like to talk about the short introduction to the University of Tokyo. University of Tokyo is the oldest university in Japan. The history is about 150 years ago, and also the biggest university in Japan. And so the concrete venue of this hackathon is the open studio at the University of Tokyo in our graduate school. So the right side of this slide shows maps of the Google map of our open studio, just the venue of the hackathon. And you can reach to this hackathon venue if you get off the metro station at the Hongo Sanchome. Then you can, if you have a walk, about 10 minutes to walk, you can reach to our open studio. And in this open studio, we will have a face-to-face and also the online hackathon event about 7 hours in one day, 13 to 20, March 20 and 21, 2 days. And so this place is very good for the hackathon event. So very open space, and with this kind of the desks and chairs, and good networking network internet environment. So if you can. If you are here, so you can make a very innovative work of programming or coding or making some idea. So this is, I think, a very good place. So we would like to offer this place is all the participant, the face-to-face participant too. And secondly, so I would like to introduce some technical information on the international testbed of Dataspace technology, which will be provided by the University of Tokyo to this hackathon. And in our University of Tokyo, we have much international collaboration about data spaces for all over the world. So European organization and the Japanese organization, company and the government. And now in our University of Tokyo, we are serving as IDSA Japan Hub. And also the collaboration with DSA Data Society Alliance, which is promoting the data space initiative called Data EX. And many company and many government organizations are supporting our activities. And for example, about 3 years ago, we have inauguration ceremony of the IDSA Japan Hub. For 3 years, we are working as the IDSA Japan Hub. And in our University of Tokyo, we are providing ITDT International Testbed of the data space technologies. So this is the objective of our test bed. we are also deploying the several dataspace systems all over the world. For example, the Fireware testbed and the IDSA testbed, and the JADE is the name of the Japanese system for the dataspaces, and Omron Entity Docomo Business testbed and the Cross IPF testbed. So we have so many systems in our testbed. So in this hackathon event, we would like to provide some of these systems to this event. But I think the time is very limited and very short, so we would like to provide a very easy to use and short-term understanding is necessary. So very easy to use system we would like to provide this hackathon event. So our international testbed system, the physically it's a virtual private network using the WireGuard. So if the participant brings their own PC to our campus or remotely by the remote connection, if you install the WireGuard system in your personal computer, you can easily connect to this ITDT network. So if you can connect to this ITDT network, you can use the dataspace systems of the ITDT deployed in ITDT. So this is a physical VPN architecture. And so we would like to make the introduction and the guidance how to connect this ITDT VPN on March 3. We have March 10. We will provide a webinar of the technology. So we would like to inform all the participants how to connect the your PC to ITDT. So we have this kind of the hands-on guideline. So according to this guideline, you can easily connect to our testbed. So in our testbed, we are now working this kind of demonstration system of the test dataspaces. And so sorry, this is in Japanese, but in this testbed, we have already installed some sample data set in our testbed systems. So University of Tokyo will provide this data space demonstration system based on JADE architecture. The step one is connecting to ITDT virtual private VPN using WireGuard. We would like to provide this to all participants, and we would like to give the information on March 10 webinar. And step two is so all participants can use the end user experience of the experimental sample database. So we would like to provide this to all participants. And for this experience, we would like to provide endpoint information of web application for the database access and user ID and password. And after that, the participant can use this system, and they can download dataset via using the web application of this test dataspace in our testbed. And we would like to very detailed guidance on the March 20 in the hackathon venue. And step three is so we would support some development of the experimental service dataspace related systems. So for this support, we would like to provide the endpoint information of the connector of the dataspace access and the API specification for downloading or access dataset from the dataspace. So I think so this is available to the interested party only. So because so many people want to use this one, but it's very hard for us to guide to many people. So this will be provided to only the interested parties. And we also would like to provide this kind of information, the guidance on the March 20 as a hackathon event. And I would like to provide more open information about the dataspace initiative or dataspace technology in Japan. And when the participant will think about propose plan some digital services using Dataspaces or trust framework or AI. So they need some information about the data in the Dataspaces in Japan. So for example, the suggested standard and tools related to Dataspaces in Japan is about the JADE. These are implemented by the Cabinet Office's IP project, and in this GitHub site, the JADE all source code and all specification document is provided. Some are English and some maybe some are only in Japanese. And in this JAD system, we are already providing real services, federated data catalogs. This is the largest data catalog in Japan, and search.ccan.jp. So you can even now you can use this federated data catalogs. This data catalog automatically collects the data set, the metadata of data set from the many open data catalogs. So this is a part of the JAD system. And also another framework is open data spaces. This was provided by the METI, Ministry of Economy and Trading and Industry and IPA. And information link is like this. And also in Japan, there are many famous data providing sites. For example, the Japan Mobility Dataspaces, JMDS, and the Tokyo Data Platform by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and NABRAS by the Kochi Prefecture Government. This is a data providing site for the fishery industry, and the Geospatial Information Center. This is a very famous one. So the participant can refer this information, the technical standard information and the technical tool information, and data information which are now provided in Japan. So I think this information will be useful for planning the digital services of this hackathon. And finally, so I would like to provide some examples of challenges to all participants of this joining this hackathon. I think the Frank-san said that the challenge is so test and security and technical integration, regulatory compliance, human-centric design, these are all technical issues, I think. And but the main mission is designing some solution demonstrating the innovative use of this kind of technology, so data space technology or interoperability between different data spaces or trust framework, ensuring like this one. And the expected issue is real-world impact. This service should have a real-world impact. So the hint to the participant is design or clarify some international cross-border digital services in which the data spaces and AI agent are useful and the trust mechanism are necessary and some interoperability and some big impact to the real world. Such kind of things is very important. So for example, I made six domains and 7 examples which matches this hackathon. For example, the healthcare domain, the international healthcare domain and international agri-food domain, culture domain, and smart city and mobility access, education and research domain. For example, in healthcare domain, cross-border emergency healthcare data platform. If I go to the Europe or India or Korea or many other countries, if I become some very serious sickness in any countries, so the hospital needs some information or data about my healthcare data, but my healthcare data will be in Japanese hospital in Japan. So this kind of things, if we can access or interoperable the EU healthcare data space and the Japanese healthcare database. If we have some interoperability, so it is very useful for this kind of the cross-border emergency healthcare problems. So another example is, for example, the agri-food for in Japan and also in Europe, and the safety of the food, vegetables and meat. This is a very, very serious issues. And for example, the food traceability system is very, very popular framework for ensuring the food safety, and such kind of data food traceability system. I think the dataspace mechanism or dataspace framework is very, very useful to implement to deploy such kind of data food traceability system. So I think this is also very, very a good example for which is necessary, the interoperability between EU, India, and Japan dataspaces. And in the similar way, the culture domain, the mobility, seamless smart city, education, research domain, so many examples. So I have made some very short concept description for this services. So 1, 2. So this is a seamless smart city and mobility access, international agri-food traceability certification database, cross-border culture and art passport, global education. So cross-border academic research and credential data spaces. All of these services need the interoperable, so cross-domain data spaces and trust mechanisms, and maybe sometimes need the AI agent. So I'm very expecting that to differ as an initial point of planning some digital services in this hackathon. So thank you very much. So we are expecting to have a much participant in this hackathon event. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for this enlightening presentation. It was really nice. Also, so all of that will be made available online for the participants. You can check afterwards all the content and then come back to us in case you will have any question. Please, if you have any questions, just keep them on the side. We will have the Q&A session at the end. Now, I would like to move on the agenda and with testimonial from Mr. Vishal Kriplani, who has been the winner of the hackathon we organized last year in Bangalore in India. It was more focused on digital public infrastructure in general, but at the end quite a lot on Dataspaces as well. So Vishal, I think I saw you online. I don't think you have slides, but it was idea to at least give some feedback on how you have been living this experience in Bangalore, and what if it brings you anything on that. Vishal?
Hi. Hello. Good evening, everyone in Japan, and then good afternoon, everyone in India, or wherever you are.
Yes, your voice is a bit low, Vishal.
Is my voice a bit low?
Oh, better now. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I was one of the participants in the first hackathon that happened for this INPACE, and I participated in Bangalore. That hackathon was for 2 days, and I was one of the finalists of that hackathon. And the core theme of that hackathon was the interoperability. Now, when I'm saying interoperability, that was like very India specific and Europe specific. But now, if you are hearing from Japan or Europe, you can consider those places. So, I mean, in that, the core problem statement was like how the European people, European data, or whatever the European organizations are, can access the data that's present in India or the data that's present with the Indian organizations and all that. Now, like there are a couple of examples for that. Like how can a European organization can get the data of Indian ports or basically Indian agriculture or basically Indian weather, right? We can't use like basically a person in Europe can't send a Gmail or an email to to Indian guy that I want the data. Can you share me the data? And then the Indian guy can't share that data in CSV format, right? That can't happen. So there needs to be a proper system. That system should understand both the parties. So now in Europe, people use EUDI wallets or different identity mechanisms are there. In India, people use Aadhaar, and we also have MOSIP, where that basically gives digital identity to each and every organization or entity or person, whatever you want. And then there's MOSIP wallet as well. Now the question comes like different countries have different systems. How can you bridge how can you bridge these systems to share the data between those two? So basically that was a challenge, and I was able to create a mock bridge that connect both these systems. Now there are like a lot of moving pieces here and there, a lot of different technologies, and my job was to create and bridge all these technologies into one. So there are multiple aspects to that. Like you need to think about the authentication, how the person in Europe can be authenticated, how the person in India can be authenticated, and how the system should understand both the protocols. Then you need to think about authorization, which person has access to what. Then you also need to think about the policy. Like European people have different policy, Indian people have different policy, and all those policies should work digitally. Like basically, if I want some data from Europe, I should not spend like 5 days in the documentation and all that. I need the policy and compliance agreement to happen on in flight and within seconds. So how can we digitize that? The third part was the actual sharing of data. What is the expiry? For example, if I got some data from European person, or if my data has gone to some European person, then what is the expiry of that data? Like when will that data expire? When will that access expire? And then last part was the auditing. We should able to see what happened, who accessed what and when. So all these were the different aspects of the system that you folks also can think about while designing the system in this hackathon, specifically bridging the gap of Europe and Japan. Yeah, my that's what that was all about my experience. It was like pretty fun hackathon. One advice that I have for all of you is like before jumping into the solution, first try to understand the ecosystem. Like first try to understand what Dataspace is, what catalog is, different systems that are present in Japan, the Japanese ID system, or different systems that I probably am not aware of all. But you folks can basically learn about all those, learn about European systems, and then first you learn and understand all those things, and then start thinking about the solutions. So take it slowly, and yeah, best of luck to everyone.
Thanks a lot, Vishal. Nice testimonial from your side, and you can all imagine the jury was quite impressed by Vishal capacity to, let's say, to get the whole picture and really understanding all different building blocks we are working together, so to provide something connecting all the block together. And I think this was really nice. And the good news is that Vishal will join us in Tokyo. So for the team who will be there and online, you will get full support from Vishal. Also, in case you have any questions to understand the ecosystem and maybe get some tips on how to win such an event also. Thanks a lot again, Vishal. Next, on the agenda, so we will now go into more details on some views from supporting organization, because as you have seen, it's many technologies, many platforms, many building blocks, standards, and so on. So we are pulling different forces together, And now I will call different companies, organizations, so Simware, VTT, Mosip, to quickly introduce what they do, what is their stack, what they are pushing forward. They are all people who are committed on the technology, so these are also people who will be able to support the hackathon participants with really high-level technical views. So today I ask all presenters to be fast. The idea is to really just a pitch exercise also on what you do, what you provide, and next week we will go more into the details of the different solutions. So if that's fine with all of you, just let me know if you want to change order, but otherwise we can go with the one which is on the slide, starting with Juanro from Simware, and then Kari from VTT, Siva from Mosip, and if it's time allow, I will also do a quick overview on my side regarding the NGSLD and the CatIP parts. So if okay with you, Juanro, I will open the floor to you.
All right, thank you, Frank, for the introduction. I will be sharing a couple of slides. I hope you see my screen. Let me know.
Yes.
So Simware, first of all, to clarify, we are a non-profit company that was created with the mission of contributing to further development of firmware components, open source components. So we gather as employees many core contributors to some firmware components, and particularly those related with Dataspaces, which is going to be the focus of our contribution in the hackathon. When talking about components for Dataspaces in general, we may distinguish Eclipse Dataspace components. Some of you already are aware of them, and they enabling business-to-business data exchange. But within the firmware community, we have created also a comprehensive set of Dataspace components that enable not only this business-to-business data exchange, but also direct user access to data services and applications. And when we talk about applications, full web-based applications. Implementing standards like OpenID for verified credentials, supporting the access from end users to services that might be exposed in the data space using digital wallets. And the firmware Dataspace connector is a product that combines both EDC and FDC, therefore supporting compatibility with connectors that might be based in EDC, but also support all the kind of functionalities and usage and scenarios that can be covered with the thanks to the firmware Dataspace components. Looking towards the hackathon, what we intend to provide is a sort of what we refer to as minimum viable data space. And the whole idea would be to set up a firmware-based system that might be exposing an application based on firmware, therefore providing not only access to near real-time digital twin data using NGSILD, but also offering some sort of application, dashboards, data maps, and so on that can be exploited by users. And we will propose a number of challenges that will mean will allow people involved in the hackathon to experiment how you may set up a data provider or a consumer that connects to services exposed by the system using the firmware Dataspace connector, or either creating new data providers in the data space that might be exposing data using either the firmware Dataspace connector or some other kind of EDC-based connector, and provide us a challenge, the idea how that system based on fireware could be extended to access the data offered by those providers. We will also define some challenges, enabling to explore how users within organizations interested in consuming the functionalities of the fireware-based system can allow users within the organizations to access these services and the web application, dashboards and data maps using their digital wallets. Excuse me. And we will bring more details about that and what can be used for addressing those challenges in the webinar, in the next webinar. So that's in general all. And with this, what we intend is that people involved in the hackathon can experience fireware technologies for data spaces and how they can create data spaces, enabling the kind of uses and scenarios and types of exchange that fireware technologies for data spaces will enable. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Juanjo, for the pitch. Quite clear, and I think quite challenging also in the time frame to set this infrastructure up. But okay, I know teams are committed, so we'll try to push for it as much as we can. Kari, I think I saw you online. If you want to take the floor, yes.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. I'm from VTT Finland. And I also have a couple of slides to share what we are thinking to bring into the hackathon. Just a second, I'll share my screen. Yes, so maybe VTT is a new organization for you, but VTT is a relatively large European research and research center for technical research based in Finland, and we are a non-profit organization owned by government. So our focus is to kind of bridge the gap between the basic research and the deployment of the research results for the companies. And we have over 2,000 researchers or employees in various technical fields, from all the way from the nuclear technology to the biotechnology. And myself, I am from the advanced Dataspaces team, and our focus has been to research topics related to the dataspaces and deployment of the dataspaces. And we collaborate with many European organizations and companies across Europe and also globally, with some Japanese companies as well as from American companies. And as far as dataspaces go, we have been involved with the dataspaces from a relatively long time now, and implemented and used dataspaces in various research topics along the way, from manufacturing industry settings, sharing IoT data from IoT system in the manufacturing domain, like OPC UA and MQTT, and also fireware platform, and use that for managing tasks and production line devices. And also we've used dataspace technologies for agricultural and domain in robot task management, to share robot tasks in agriculture across different actors like farmers and robot operators and so on. And also circular economy is a big topic related to the dataspaces, or quite actively researched topic, especially in the textile industry and also in agri-food, to kind of establish the cross-border and cross-company information flow of the products from the birth to the death of the product and recycling of that. And also the energy domain is quite actively researched in relation to Dataspaces. And now, of course, this cross-border identity federation that this hackathon is about is very interesting topic for us as well. Bridging these different identity management technologies and domains together is quite a crucial aspect of using the Dataspaces in actual real life environment and getting the most out of the technology that promises so much. And what we are kind of done when we have conducted this research on the Dataspace topic is that we have established kind of Dataspace innovation lab or data innovation lab, that where we have infrastructure to test different Dataspace components and environments in a production-like environment. So we have IT infrastructure which is distributed geographically. So we have machines in our locations in Tampere and in Oulu, where we can deploy virtual machines and services, and which are connected to internet the same way as they would be in the production environment. So it's essentially like real life deployment infrastructure where you can kind of test different things with the non-critical data, because all the security auditing and this kind of things prevent any of like GDPR or any sensitive data to be shared in this platform. But for the research purposes, it's very useful to be able to test the deployments in a real life environment. So we have whole B-class or C-class public IP address space to be deployed in our test lab, so we can deploy several Dataspaces or just a singular one with the multiple nodes and test the communication between all the services in a real life environment. And as for the deployment goes, we have also a Kubernetes cluster deployed on top of this infrastructure, where we have kind of a basic set of services, Kubernetes services that can be used to deploy and manage Dataspace components and services. So, like for the continuous integration and deployment, we have Argo CD that can be used to deploy components and tracking the performance and other aspects with the Prometheus, and also Ingress gateways. What we have used is Istio, but we can also use more simple ones like NGINX or Traffic. And also the authentication is possible to use with the Keycloak. And as for the Dataspace components, maybe we go over these details of using the deployment later on. But if the competitors want to use the Kubernetes, that is possible, and we can support on that. But we can also use more simple deployment scenarios or mechanisms like Docker Compose or Docker Swarm if more resources are needed. So this is why this very flexible environment. And as for Dataspaces go, we have certified Dataspace connector that we have done a couple of years ago when the certification of the IDSA connectors came available. So that is something that we can we can deploy. Of course, it is not using the dataspace protocol, which is the latest one that are used in the EDC and other similar components or dataspace connectors that are more advanced from that. And we've also deployed EDC components or EDC connector there, and some of the simple components, which is also based on the EDC, but using different kind of identity mechanisms from Gaia X, for example. And for the other components, we have developed a catalog or federated catalog components, and also are developing these dataspace protocol-based connectors, and which can bring or use different data planes to offer data through the dataspace. And yeah, so we can deploy these dataspace components in very kind of production-like environment with quite flexible configurations. We have our own DNS servers there, so we can really kind of use the internet infrastructure as it is as it would be used in the production. And one of the benefit of using this environment in the hackathon is also that if there's like a geolocation based policies, for example, that are possible with the EDC, it's possible to kind of test these mechanisms, how they work in real life, since our infrastructure is located in these VTT sites in Finland, in Oulu and Tampere specifically. Yeah, this is the main thing that we are looking to bring into the hackathon, and hopefully this is useful for some or all of the teams.
Thanks a lot, Kari. Quite interesting. And I was even thinking that maybe your playground should be the place where we could start with Simware to deploy the stack that one was just presenting before. So that's could be even a possibility.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks a lot. Siva from MOSIP will take the floor next to present us ING, which is a bit different on the verifiable credential part. So let's move to Indian open source ecosystem. Siva, the floor is yours.
Hi, thanks a lot. I'll take a few minutes. I know that we are talking about many things here about the data here. Okay, before I jump into the ING product line as such, I would like to, I hope I'm audible, right, Frank? Are you able to see my screen as well?
Yes. You can hear you and see the slides. Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. So I think we were talking about data, talking about how to share the data across multiple cross borders and, multiple organizations, that kind of stuff. So before jumping into ING, which is one of the major product line which related to the credentialing stack, so I would like to give one of the roadmap what actually MOSIP followed so far, and I think MOSIP is predominantly a identity system, foundation ID system, and once we provide the identity, and it was predominantly not for India because in India Aadhaar is already there. And we are a non-profit organization, open source product, and we are funded by Gates and Melinda Foundation and Tata Trust and multiple other philanthropists. So now, when we provided our credentialing stack, the intention of providing the credentialing stack is like now I provided a foundation ID for a citizen. What exactly he is going to do with his identity, right? So there are a number of streams where he has to use identity appropriately, right? If I look at how his identity is provided, now I want to see how the identity is exchanged between two parties. That may be between two businesses, or it will be between a business and the end user. So that's where actually the ng of MOSIP ng actually kind of like surfaced out of the thought process. Okay, why cannot we actually extend our thought process of providing just an identity is not suffice, and we need to take it further. Okay, I just want to give a glimpse of how MOSIP adoption is actually spreading across the globe right now. If you look at, I mean, the countries, whatever actually I captured here are most of the countries are at different stages. Few are at the pilot stage. Few are already in the complete countrywide adoption is already done. Like example is Philippines completely adopted, Ethiopia completely adopted, Morocco completely adopted, Sri Lanka is in pipeline. Few countries are, which I listed out here, are already in the pilot phases. They are doing pilots for the foundation ID because few actually already has their own identity system. They are saying that, oh, I already have identity system. Can I use your ng credentialing stack to take it further? Okay. So we are not only we are restricting ourselves to just providing a foundation ID, but we are saying that we have one more product stream called ng. Why cannot you adopt that one as well? I'll go a little deeper into that one, how they're adapting. Okay, I think I don't, it's my verifiable credential is a kind of like a no new word or jargon floating around the world right now, because I provided a credentialing or provided data, how someone is going to trust that data, right? Trust is the key here. Now, I have my own data where I'm going to hold. Okay, who is going to give that data to me? Okay, someone has to provide a verifiable credential on the data. Like example, I have my own, kind of like mark certificate is there right now. So far, everything is on paper. Now, whoever actually asks, I scan it and share, right? So, what is the guarantee that there is what is the integrity of that one? So, someone has to, kind of like make that as a verifiable credential, and okay, he shared that one. Okay, where I'm going to hold that one? So, I should have a wallet, right? Now, once I have the wallet, someone has to verify that one. There is a tri-party involvement is there. Someone is going to issue, someone is going to hold it, someone is going to verify it. Okay. So, and that's what actually happening. It's not only limited to the education sector, which I spoke, right? I mean, you can check with basic employment check, and someone wants to open a bank account, right? I mean, someone wants to do insurance and XYZ. Okay. Across all these things, the data is floating around. Okay. The data has to be trusted. Okay, there has to be some ecosystem has to be built. Okay, I think in previous slides, and even Vishal was mentioning about he used MOSIP ng as a building block, one of the building block in the solution, whatever he actually did in the last year, right? So how this ideation I actually kind of like covered, right? So I said that a shoot data will be shared to the other party, right? By me, okay, how is going to happen it. So I'll go a little deeper on that one. What exactly? Again, we don't want to build a monolithic block here. The reason being is someone says that one, okay, example, EUIDA wallet, Europe actually has their own wallets, okay. They don't want to use their wallet, but they want to work with the other issuers. So we actually sliced, our stack into different blocks like ng certify. The ng certify is a product line or a block, whatever you call it as, is the thing which actually takes the the legacy data, converts into verifiable credentials, and spit it out to the whoever is requesting for. And there is our ng wallet is there. ng wallet is, we actually have a mobile-based wallet and also a web-based wallet. Someone actually, if we go to because I mean, it is not only targeting for the countries which are already developed, right? There are countries where still there is a penetration of smartphone is not that much, okay? But still people want to use the verifiable credential, how they can use. So we actually have like in the wallet, in G wallet, we actually have a web-based wallet, and we also have a mobile-based wallet, okay? And we also have a verify component or block which actually can perform the verifying the issued credentials. So when we are doing all these things, one of the major things what we actually consider is how we can actually keep ourselves very close to the open standards, right? The reason being is, suppose if EUIDA wallet is there or some other wallet is there, how that wallet can interoperably work with our other components. Okay, and there is a classic example, and even in the wallet also, or even in the certify or verify, we actually kind of like slice that into a small blocks so that okay, there's someone actually says that I already have a wallet, okay, but I don't want to adopt completely your Inji wallet. Okay, is it possible for me to enable my wallet as verifiable credential? It is absolutely possible. Okay, there are some libraries we actually provide, and everything is open source. I mean, they can take it. We provide all the support, whatever they require. Okay, they can integrate our libraries into their wallet and make their wallet verifiable credential capable. Okay, so it's kind of like when you actually have a big TV, right? I mean, people are actually moving to smart TVs, right? They don't need to completely replace a TV. They actually have a add-on gadget which actually makes their TV, capable of the latest technology, something like that. Now, as I said, right, I mean, things are changing right now, okay? I mean, even though a lot of digitization actually happened, whenever actually saying that someone says, okay, I want to verify your degree certificate or I want to verify your insurance, they are saying, can you provide me a soft copy of your certificate or your degree certificate or education certificate or whatever it is. But still, and someone says that, okay, I provided a soft copy. No, you provided a soft copy. Can you also provide me a hard copy so that I can compare? Something like that. Because still people are thinking, and now kind of we are psychologically close to the looking at the physical copy is a kind of like a trusted version, right? So that has to go. So because we are still kind of like relying on the hard paper-based stuff. So we want to slowly get out of that one using providing a verifiable credential thing. And also, as I said, we want to provide them as modular as possible so that people don't have to completely rely or take entire our stack, but they can actually take a small component from ours, and also they can build their own stuff as well. And also, as I said, this is just open source, okay? And we are at the MIT license, and we can take that, whatever the components we are actually releasing in the GitHub, you can take that one and you can build your own stuff. You don't need to contribute back anything. There is no obligation as such. So, okay, and I think one of the previous slides actually they covered about different segments, right? Economic segments they were covering about this. We are also kind of like providing a solution on that one. Cross-border is one of the major thing, okay, and agriculture sector is one of the major thing as well, okay. I cannot quote a few things here, but there are some countries are already adopting our Inji stack into their agriculture segment to verify the identity. I can take one more couple of minutes here saying that one. I think in the cross-border also there is one of the important thing is their digital product passport. I'll take an example when a goods is getting exported from India or XYZ country, right, and to another country. What is the guarantee that the raw material to the final goods? What is the guarantee the same goods is actually used? First point, right? So there is a scope for providing a verifiable credentials for that part, for that product. And also who is actually supplying that one, how we are going to verify that one. So digital product passport, okay. I think one of the classic example, we were actually working with one of the universities in Netherlands. I mean, they want to provide a solution and they want to use in this stack for providing the solution is what they call as fabric forward. Okay, fabric forward is actually the raw material is coming from India, the cotton, and that is actually becoming, they are making into final, branded T-shirt or shirt. What is the guarantee that they use the same cotton which was exported from India to there? So they want to create a platform as a solution using Inji, and what they call is a fabric forward, and make sure that the data is data with respect to. I'm not saying the data doesn't mean that only data belongs to an individual, right? The data can be any product. So it's kind of like a product passport. I think this one of the things is also coming like even in the batteries, right? In the batteries also they are actually talking about digital product passport for the batteries. So it can go to any extent. So few of the segments what I actually captured is academics is one thing, cross-border is academics, and also the digital product passports, agriculture is one thing. So you can name it, okay? It's going to be like going to explode, my opinion, it's going to explode into every nook and corner of the product line. So I don't want to again go back to the same use case which we already discussed. So this is how the typical VC is going to look like, and which can be scanned. And there is one more standard we actually came out is Claim 169. When we are actually putting the data in the VC, right? How we are going to have the QR code, but the entire data required for that. One of the classic use case what we are talking is someone is actually migrating. Typically if I go to African continent, right? So where the borders are so porous. Okay, and someone actually is going to do frequent travel between the two nations. How someone is going to verify the immigration? How someone is going to easily verify the person? Okay, and the cross border at that stage, he may have the internet connectivity or he may not have internet connectivity. In that case, how someone can verify the immigration check can happen easily. So if you actually have a QR code, and the QR code is going to have a compressed data of photo, right? And someone can actually scan using our NG Verify, scan that one, and look at the photograph of the person and look at that one. You're done. You don't really need to have internet connectivity there. So offline connectivity also there. The intention is to how we can actually make the identification or verification decentralized. That way we can actually reduce the single point of failures. So we are building a huge community, and a lot of traction is actually happening in the community. You can feel free to join in the community. We are actually, this is the URL for the community. Frank can share across the PDF, whatever I'm presenting here for your future reference. There are a lot of traction is happening with the university. A lot of universities are contributing and collaborating with us, and countries as well. Okay, because we fundamentally provide the foundation ID. So they are actually taking to next step how they can actually adopt NG as one of their next progression. So they are working very closely with us. A lot of countries are working with us, and we are also working with CMU University, and also we are working Alan Turing University in UK. There are prestigious universities in India like IITs and IITs, because we are based out of IIT Bangalore, and we are incubated in that one. So a lot of universities are contributing to us. And we conduct I think the way the hackathons are happening here, we conduct every year, we conduct 2 events called Massive Create and Massive Decode, where Create is specifically for the solution providers, Decode is specifically for the students who can contribute to us. And we are also heavily working with the European segment. We work with the FIDES community back in Europe to see how we can actually penetrate ourselves into the European market as well. Again, this is open source, and at any point of time, people can take our code, or we'll provide our complete 100% support. And we have our sandboxes always available. You can play around on that one. And here are the links where you can get more information about our components. You can always play around other ones. The documentation is very crystal clear. And there are a number of countries or a number of third-party vendors, even without bothering us too much. They took our documentation and they are able to build their solutions within no time. So here is our QR code. Feel free to scan it and approach us. We are always helpful to and support all the good things happening around the world. Thanks a lot for providing this opportunity, and thanks to all, and special thanks to Frank here. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks a lot, Siva, for your presentation. So we will go again into more details next week on this MOSIP, and especially the NG stack of MOSIP. As soon as we are dealing with Indian software and so on, it has to scale. So that's the good point. We know it scales. So thanks a lot, Siva. I will go now for a final quick presentation, and then we'll open the floor to questions, if any. It will be not too long. I'm just taking another hat of being also vice chair in standardization committee at Etsy. And just to mention two things that will be developed further next week also by a colleague on the NGSILD specification and the DCAT AP mapping, which are ongoing. And NGSILD, you may have heard about it. It has been, we heard quite a lot on Fireware since this morning. So Fireware, in fact, is using this NGSILD specification as an information model and API to exchange data. It's built on property graph models, and it allows to have some semantic definitions within the graph and, let's say, streamline the data exchange across the different systems. It was made from the beginning to make it simple, let's say, for the developers to enter into this semantic world of data exchange and linked data. Okay, I won't go into the details, but we build a graph, a knowledge graph. That's what you do when you do NGSILD. So it's quite useful because a specification itself doesn't tells you a lot. It just defines the basic terms of geographical information, temporal information, links, and then it allows you to go further in deploying your own models. Siva was mentioning DPP, Digital Product Passport, for example, and this is quite useful to have data models which are specialized for a specific product and being them expressed as NGSILD, so then you can exchange them over a data space, for example. Again, so what the spec says, only the core meta model with a bit of ontology to say how I define a location, how I do define temporal information within a data set, and that's more or less the main things which are there. And then you have to deploy your own models on top of that. So there's the data models which are being deployed, and we see communities such as the smart data models being pushed by Fireware, which are deploying such models. What I wanted to just highlight, because Dataspaces have a part of Dataspaces is the catalog, where you just make available the data sets, the services, data services, which are offered by the Dataspace. And there, more and more, we are using the DCAT AP specification for that. And DCAT is W3C standards to express data catalog vocabulary, and the DCAT AP is a profile which has been developed mostly by the European Commission to facilitate search of datasets across public data portals. So that's quite in use in Europe and more adopted within the data space ecosystem. Recently, the European Commission launched a request for standardization, which has been accepted by ETSIS and Select, and basically DCAT AP is becoming really a founding pillar on these data space activities. And what is being worked right now is how I do express DCAT AP within NGSILD ecosystem. So it can be used if you have NGSILD information stored somewhere, then you can express it through DCAT AP. So it can be discovered, it can be consumed and republished in other portals such as SICAN or any portal you may think about. So this is just to give you knowledge of this which is happening, and next week you will get more let's say hands-on views on this work. So that's it for all the presentation, and now I'd like to get questions if we have any questions from the participants on all of what was presented. I know it's quite a lot of information to be presented. The records will be made available anyway afterward, together with the slide set. So you can have a look at it and come back to us if you have any questions, just even later on. So, do you have any question? No question. So either it was all crystal clear or all not understandable. That's me to choose. Okay, so if we don't have any further question, I suggest that we stop here. So again, we will send you to all persons who registered will send you the link to the video record. We'll send you also the link to the slides. And now, in case you want to participate in that hackathon, either as a supporter, as we had by Simware, VTT, Mosip, or a player in the hackathon, then you will have to register. So it's in the InPace project. If you just Google the InPace project and go to the EU Japan Digital Week, you will get the registration link for the hackathon. And anyway, we will send it again together with the information from the call today. So if still no
Frank,
questions.
There is a question. Excuse me.
Okay.
There is a question in the chat. Participant asks if hackathon needs basic engineering skills.
Okay, not sure how to understand that, obviously. Well, idea is to work on technical interoperability. So yes, you need basic engineering skills to be able to connect systems, understand the architecture, how to connect them. Still, as Professor Kochizuka was showing, it's not only about technical activities, it's also about impact and thinking wider. So if you are more on that part and would like to join a team, for example, or think about new concept on the use and exploitation of data spaces, this is obviously welcome. So in that case, just let us know and then we can move that way. Not know if I answer your question. Okay. No other questions? No? Okay, so thanks all for your time. It was really interesting for me, and I always love to see all these technology committed guys presenting. Thanks a lot for all our Japanese partners, especially obviously Professor Kochizuka and all his team who has been supporting on the background all of these activities. I know it's quite late now in Japan and India as well, so thanks a lot again. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks, Rob.
See you in Tokyo.